Hello and welcome to the Point Blank Show. My name is Abhishek. Nvidia is among the hottest properties in the world right now. It is at the heart of an AI revolution that surrounds us. The outfit's founder, Jensen Huang, is quite a character, and few have had closer access to him than journalist Stephen Witt, who's written a fascinating book titled The Thinking Machine, Jensen Huang, Nvidia and the World's Most Coveted Microchip. Thanks a lot, Stephen, for joining in.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You are an investigative journalist, and this must come very naturally to you. But I am given to understand that when you went to interview Jensen for the first time, you had pretty much researched everything that was written about him in the past. You read every article in the New York Times. You went through local papers. How was that first interview with the man who would have by then gotten used to answering in a machine-like, response, because he gets the same kind of questions? How was that first interview with him, Stephen?
Yeah, it was great. Well, what I figured was Jensen, he allocates something like investments that will direct $250 billion of kind of capital and profit and revenue each year. And so if you do the math, roughly 1 minute of his time is worth like $1 million, right? So you can't waste time. And one thing I had noticed was that kind of the same questions were asked again and again, even though you could kind of go publicly find what those answers were. So what I decided I would do is draft for Jensen a list of questions that I was fairly sure no journalist had ever asked him before. And going back in the time, I'd found an old YouTube clip of Jensen where he was on a Chinese language television station, and they'd asked him about his wife, and he brought up this time that he'd almost died in a car accident. But they didn't follow up with any questions, and he didn't give any more information. So my first question to Jensen was, tell me about the time you almost died in a car accident. And he kind of like sat up like this. And he was like, oh, you heard about that, huh? And then he sort of like his demeanor completely changed. He'd been sort of like hostile and grumpy and not wanting to be there. And suddenly he like opened up a ton and started talking about all these details from his life that I don't think anyone had ever heard about before. And so for the next hour, I just asked him a series of what I thought were completely brand new questions. And this turned out to be, I didn't quite know this at the time, but I got lucky. This turned out to be exactly how you approach Jensen, because all of his executives sort of have to do the same thing too. Because his time is so valuable, when they talk to him, they're totally prepared. I mean, they've researched every question already. They're very deep on what they can answer. They're not stalling. They're not wasting his time with old issues. And so if you do this, you can sort of get his attention and respect. I subsequently was invited back to interview Jensen again, which I was very fortunate. And we ended up talking 5 or 6 times, which was really an education and really fun.
And